Dominic Ingle, Dom. Episode 4 of the Brutally Honest podcast. We're not in the Ingle gym. I suppose we kind of are in the Ingle gym. We're in a makeshift Ingle gym out here at an undisclosed location on the movie set of the movie Giant, on your dad and Nazim Mohammed. How's it been for you today?
It's good. I mean, watching Pierce walking in this place, dressed up as Brendan and looking like Brendan was quite an interesting experience, and just watching him perform and doing the moves and talking to the guy who's playing Naz, it takes you back a little bit.
See, you guys got papped on the outside talking to Pierce. How was that? So that'll be the first picture of Brendan Pierce dressed as your dad with his sons.
Yeah, with the movie dad. Yeah. Like I say, it's when he got out of the van and he's got the tracksuit on, got the glasses on. He looks like Brendan. So yeah, we're there with his the Hollywood father, as we say.
You got to see some scenes today. I'm not sure if we're allowed to talk about the scenes or not, but what did you make of the acting?
Yeah, like I said, the guys they got playing Naz in his older years as a good match, and especially the guy who was a younger kid. Just been watching the moves there. He's got the moves in as he's obviously watched it, and it does take you back into the 80s in the working men's clubs. When Naz and the likes of Naz, Ryan Rhodes, all them type of kids were boxing.
We saw Pierce obviously dressed up as your dad. I can't say too much about the scene that we saw, but obviously we saw him and Naz interacting. What did you think of the accents and the voiceovers that they?
He's an Irish fella anyway, Pierce. So he's got the voice right. So yeah, it's just good watching it behind the scenes. Yeah, obviously when you're in here watching the scenes, it's nothing like what the film is when they put the film together. It's obviously it's seamless. But the repetition over and over and over again, it does get a bit boring. But they're trying to get it to perfection.
We obviously saw the gym's been recreated at a different location. What do you make of the whole setup and the way the gym's been recreated?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think they wanted to film it in our gym, but obviously we couldn't close down the gym for that length of time. And I think if they used our gym with obviously the characters that they're using, I don't think it'd work, because people would have looked at that gym and thought, we've got videos of Naz in this gym, exact gym. And when you put in the actors in, they wouldn't I don't think they're fitted in. But this is a good recreation of something what looks like our gym. It's got the lines on the floor. It's got the same kind of set up the flooring. So it kind of works. It's all cinematic in it. It's not the real location. I just don't think it'll work that way.
From you being sold the idea and being told about how the movie's going to be all them months and months ago, to now actually seeing it in action, obviously you got to see some footage that they filmed in the last few days of working men's clubs and what it was like in the late 80s, early 90s with Naz fighting as an amateur. Your dad in the background. We saw your double. Talk about your double as well, and John's double.
Yeah, I'm saying they've got characters, obviously actors, and they're gonna be finding it pretty hard to get someone to match me, aren't they? Really.
I thought that was quite a good match.
He's got to have a bit more muscle on him. He's got to be a bit better looking as well. But no, they've got the guys, and it's the character that they bring out in it. That's what it is. So, like I say, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting when it all goes together, how it all works. And obviously, we've been on films before. I like watching, different films. I've watched a few at the cinema lately. I watched one about Amy Winehouse, very, very good. But then you go back to watching the actual footage in a documentary of Amy Winehouse. It's totally different to the film. The film was very, it was interesting. It was captivating, to be honest. And that's what films have got to be. Otherwise, it would be a documentary. So the difference between the real life and the cinematic version is you do want a smoother version of events in the cinematic version of it, because it just makes the story roll better.
It does. I think they've described this as a bioepic. Anything else that stood out for you today?
It's the first day we've been up, so there's a crew of 100 people. It's like I said, we've been involved in a few films over the years in the gym, different stuff, and it's nothing changes. It's the same process of what we've seen, and it's an hard slog really. It's not particularly interesting because it's just over and over again, trying to get it right. But we'll be coming up a few more times, as the film progresses, watching the different scenes and dropping in and just seeing how it's going.
I generally thank you for inviting me along, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we do cut off, we're going to pick it back up, because I think they're still rehearsing and stuff
Yeah.
in the background.
Well, we're in between scenes at the minute, aren't we? So we've got to be quick.
We have. I've got to get your opinion on, obviously, with regards to the podcast. Well, there's a lot we can talk about, but I think we'll pick it up after this scene. Right, Don, we're picking back up. I think we've got another 5 minutes before they do the next take. So I'm trying to think what I was asking you.
You asked me about Ryan Garcia. I'm sure.
Ryan Garcia, that was it, yeah. So obviously with regards to the podcast, it's hot topic, hot news today. How shocked and surprised were you when you got the news? Ostarine and nandrolone
Metabolites, as they say. I don't know, it's a weird one, isn't it? 10 years ago, it shocked me, but it's just so commonplace these days, with people failing tests. And I always just find it strange how they've still managed to let the fight go on, knowing that, this has been in his system if it's right. And it makes me wonder, have they done that because they want to cash in and make the money, and then, we'll pull him up afterwards? Why did they let the fight go on? Because there's been many times, I think one of the examples was Dillian White against
Oscar Rivas?
No, against Anthony Joshua.
Oh yeah.
And there's been other ones when they pulled it out like the week before the fight. So why has it gone on? Because obviously there's money involved, and it's like, so what? Like, is it true? It just seems strange that they've left it that late, and it's the only time, like 2 or 3 days before the fight and on then fight day, that they've come up with this, when they've been testing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and those particular things. Nandrolone and Ostarine, you've got to be taking it all the way through the camp. So why haven't they detected it then? It just always seems a bit suspicious to me that it's just a bit like Amir Khan's fight that with Kell Brook, that it only came out. It was only, it came out on the test after the fight, when they'd done so many more tests before and all the way through the camp. The times when it would be, if you're going to take PEDs, that's when you're going to be using them. And nandrolone is one of the easiest things to detect. So, why have they only just picked up on it now, if it's to be believed?
Well, because I understand the Ostarine test was taken the day before the fight. Do you think they would have had the results of that already?
Not necessarily. I think they can.
By the way, we just got John Ingle in on camera for the first time ever.
You better cut that one out.
No, we're going to leave it in.
Taxman might find out where he is. Yeah, it's strange they can almost test it immediately, can't they? It wouldn't be the same day, and not unless they needed to, but, it's not a thing you take, just to increase your performance on that day. It's a drug they take to train on over a period of time. So it's just very strange. It's all very strange, the situation with Ryan Garcia. Obviously coming in overweight, steroids promote weight gain. He was strong, but was he any stronger than he normally is? Who knows?
Well, he's suggested this herbal medicine called ashwagandha.
Well, there's lots of ashwagandha around, and unless it's been tested, to that particular supplement what he's got. And if he's got that supplement, what they do is, if you've got any left, they just test it and see if it actually contains any of it. But if that was the case, because ashwagandha is on sale to everybody and anybody, especially all athletes, and all athletes do take it, why aren't more and more and more athletes, failing that test?
Obviously, he had VADA testing. It was all voluntary, and from my understanding, he was tested numerous times in the build-up to the fight. We'll pick up in a minute. Right, Dom, just picking back up, as I was saying, he got tested numerous times in the build-up to the fight, and obviously because he was, whether we don't know he was acting or whether it was real that he was pretending to take, drink alcohol and smoke weed, etc. And because of that, he showed that he was tested quite a few times. Like, how stupid would somebody have to be to I don't know, to fail a test?
The thing is, if you, like I say, if you're taking ashwagandha, if you're taking it all the way, all the supplements will be taken all the way through his camp. So why is he not tested then? And I just think to myself that when it's so close to a fight, and it's like 2 or 3 days, and then on the fight day, and they get caught at the end of the camp, there's probably lots of reasons why. And one is when they're dropping weight and dropping water, the metabolites will be more concentrated.
So yeah, Dom, just picking back up, as I said, how stupid would somebody have to be to get popped literally the day before a fight when he's been tested every day randomly?
I don't know if it's a case of that, that's just happened like that. It just seems to be that, has somebody given him something? Because it's either somebody's given him something in the last few days, either that because he's making weight and dropping water, that the metabolites in his body are more concentrated and therefore easier to detect, and that all the way through the camp that he's had a way to flush all the metabolites out, and that's more difficult when you're making weight and you're not drinking water. You're kind of starving yourself from restricting water. So that's the three things it could be. He's either had a good way to flush it out all the way through the camp, and he's been concentrated towards the end, or that somewhere down the line somebody's been a bit careless, or somebody spiked him, or they've added it into his supplements.
Okay. So the other thing, Ryan, obviously he said he obviously put a lot of videos and a lot of tweets out in the last 24 hours, and one of the things he said is because he's been in a video recently supporting Donald Trump, and because he spoke up about the stuff that's going on in Gaza, he feels maybe he's been stitched up.
Yeah, but
by the Illuminati. Do you know the Illuminati are?
Well,
have you heard of them?
I've heard the word a lot of times, but you have to think, well, on what is that going to stop him from talking? Let's just say that, all right, it discredits him that he's failed a drug test, but it's not going to stop him from speaking out. He's still going to have his platform, what's the purpose, of doing that, like making him fail a drug test? He's still going to have a platform to talk from, whether he's beat debonairly, fairly or squarely or not. Do you know what I mean? He's still going to have a platform, because this controversy is going to keep him elevated up there as well, and and keep him speaking. It's not like it's going to silence him, is it? Failing a drug test, it's not going to silence him. It's going to get people's more interest. More people are going to search him up. More people are going to listen to what he's got to say. So what's the point? And I think when athletes come out with that excuse that the thing I read was that he's denying everything, and then he's took this ashwagandha, and then it's because it's a Donald Trump. It's like, it don't make sense, does it? It's like, no, I don't take drugs, and it's just a load of rubbish. But these things don't come out, do they, about failing a test unless there's a test failed.
I think Amir Khan tested for the same drug. Yeah. So obviously they've not mentioned the levels yet. If it is low levels, do you think?
No, because it just shouldn't be in your body anyway.
Okay.
If he can produce a supplement, like he's took some ashwagandha and he can produce that ashwagandha, and they have it tested and it's been contaminated, then.
With the Amir Khan situation, I remember you said that because he got tested in fight week, it was impossible for him to have that in his system, like deliberately as a steroid. It could have been like from an energy drink or something like that.
More than likely, with the Amir Khan thing, it was like the last test before he boxed, maybe a few days before. And like I say, it's a drug you have to take all the way through camp to get any benefits from it. So why is it only just coming up in the end of his training camp? Has somebody in his team give it him without him knowing? Thinking it's going to create some kind of advantage. Well, that's not the way it works. That's not a stimulant. You're talking stimulants have that kind of effect. So you have to question it all, don't you? Why? And nandrolone is such an easily detectable substance that you very rarely hear people getting tested for it because they stop using it. So is it somebody on his team who's give it him without his knowledge? Who knows? But it just seems strange, because it doesn't strike me as a type of people who's going to sit on the internet and research how to, doping to at an high level is done by doctors and people in labs, not boxers or even the team around them. It's usually high level stuff. If you're trying to get around it, and even then it's a risky business.
Well, we've seen recent times Dillian White, Alicia Baumgardner, both have been cleared to fight now. So and Alicia's got world title defense coming up. So, and obviously similar sort of situation. Do you think he could quite possibly, with the right people behind him, clear his name?
Look at this one. They only ever get cleared like that in America, don't they? Dillian White got cleared in America. Baumgardner got cleared in America. Canelo got cleared in America. He'll probably get cleared in America. In England, you don't get cleared. Look at Conor Benn. You don't get cleared.
Is that fair on Conor Benn and just general state of boxing?
Is it about being fair? It's just that we uphold the system in the UK. So there's no way around it.
Okay. Do you think it'll get made into a no contest then and potential ban, or there'll be a court case and?
Who knows what they're going to do, because they're a bit unpredictable, aren't they? Whichever way it is, it's kind of tarnished the result. That's what it's done.
Last thing I want to ask you about is we just found out the other day Mike Tyson, Jake Paul is now been sanctioned by the Texas Commission as a professional boxing bout. 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds, 14-ounce gloves, I think, no head guard.
Well, how can it be a proper fight with 14-ounce gloves? Because the highest weight glove you can have in a fight is 10 ounce, 8 and 10 ounce. So how can it be a proper professional fight at nobody wears 14-ounce gloves in a professional boxing contest, do they?
Well, Mike's similar sort of age to yourself. How do you think he's going to deal with a young guy like Jake Paul trying to make him a meme?
Mike Tyson should still know enough to beat him up, but whether there's been an agreement beforehand, who knows? But I think even Mike Tyson at 56, 57 has got enough in the tank.
Would you go out to it? Would you watch it?
Would I watch it? It's not really for me, to be honest. It's not. I only really go and watch really, really big fights, and for me, that's a bit of a piss take, to be honest. Mike Tyson's an old guy. Jake Paul's young. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you even want to do that? Why would you not go into the fight with a ring legend who said in his last fight, I ain't got it anymore. Getting beat like that, and once you've got it no more, it's a dangerous place to be.
It is, and there is one more thing, a big fight this weekend, Canelo versus Jaime Munguia. Munguia is undefeated. The most recent comparison is the John Ryder win. Munguia stopped him after I think 8 or 9 rounds, and Canelo beat him on points. What are you thinking? Could we see an upset? Could Oscar De La Hoya?
I think the result, Munguia's result against Ryder was complimentary, really, in the sense that, don't forget, he took quite a big beating off Canelo and took a lot out of John Ryder, and John Ryder's a tough kid. And John Ryder probably still had ambition for the fight with Canelo, and you've got to be on your top game, otherwise you're going to get filled in properly. And John Ryder's a good kid, he's a tough kid, but you can't have too many fights like that. And I think when he got in with Munguia, the damage had already been done from Canelo. He'd been softened up, maybe lost a little bit of ambition, and it was a flattering result for Munguia.
Prediction?
I think Canelo beats him.
Points, knockout?
Points or possibly late stoppage.
Okay. Any last words, Dom, on the movie set? Movie about your dad?
What would we say? The world is not enough.
Do you reckon we could convince?
The world is not enough.
Do you reckon we could convince John Ingle to jump in on frame?
No, you can't afford him. I don't think. You're not. You need a couple more sponsors.
I've been on long too.
Yeah, since Nas piped up.
Do you reckon you could talk, John, like without being on camera?
No, people will think I'm you.
Yeah, that's quite a good, fair point. But yeah, appreciate your time, Dom. I look forward to the movie coming out. Any last words before I let you go?
No, like I say, it's exciting times ahead. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think the fans are in for a definite treat from the shots we've seen today. It looks absolutely amazing, and thank you once again for the invite. Thank you.